lots going on right now. Lots of trades have been in and out of the property on this new construction. And it's our turn. So you can see that they are ready for the stairs. The stairs should be one of the last things that we do. The homeowners are moving in less than a week. So we are here to get them done. Lots of trades have been in and out all week. And as you know, you've heard us say it before, we have to be the only ones here. We can't have people using the stairs. So we've been waiting. We did a bunch of prep yesterday while there were still people using the stairs. And as you can see, they're quite dirty. So we're gonna have to get started making sure that we clean them so that our glue is sticking to the wood itself and not the dirt that's there. But we have the two sets of stairs, both of them with these little landing exchanges in them to get done today. So it's about 30 stairs all together that we're gonna be trying to crank out in one day so that we can get them set, so that the rest of the trades, the plumbers and everything and electricians can get in tomorrow, on Monday, so that they have a day to set before anybody is using the stairs. So we're gonna get started on the cleaning and then get to work.
So these top stairs were not quite as dirty, but the stairs in general were quite dirty, and more so some from the mud outside, given that there was no grass to alleviate that, but some also from the drywall process. So even if you have rough stairs, you do want to have them covered in a paper while the drywall process is going on, because any of those chunks that are bumps, and so not necessarily you have to actually straighten off by hand before you're able to sleep. And then as always, we use the blower to ensure any of that time that we just use the air before we get going with our adhesive, just so that we have a really nice solid connection there. And yeah, we're going to get started. So you can see that our installer here is nailing on what looks like unfinished, but this is actually paper that's been put over top of the flooring. So the flooring here has been completely done at this point, and so we are ready to get started. We do always start at the bottom of a staircase. In this case, again, that flooring here has been done, so this is the bottom of our staircase. And we decided to do it this way because it was most important that these top stairs have the most time to adhere. So we went ahead to do this installation before we did those ones down to the basement. So as I mentioned earlier, we did have all of these boards pre-cut and ready to go the day before for this set of stairs. And as this installer is working, I was going around and finishing up some of the cutting for the other stairs. So you can see here this installation process, it goes fairly quickly when everything is obviously pre-cut and ready to go. We just use pencil on top of the vinyl to number them, and then those can just wipe off as well. And you can see here, you want to make sure everything is nice and clean and tidy before adding that adhesive. We're using that PL Premium there. We do have a number of videos that show you in detail how to do this installation step by step, how you want to hold it, how you want to click it, how you want to apply the adhesive. So if you are going to be doing your own job, then definitely go and check one of those out, because obviously this is quite sped up for the process here. And what you maybe just saw is actually during the adhesive process, they came unclicked, which does happen every once in a while. So just got to get them clicked back on and keep going from there. We have had a number of questions about why we might start at the bottom. Obviously, we'd love to start at the top. That would make the most logistical sense, given the fact that, you know, you got to be standing on the stairs to be working at the top, and you don't want to be pushing out the ones at the bottom. But our reasoning for this is the ordering of what happens. So you can see here, this is the nosing that's being adhered. Okay, it's going to slide on and it's going to go all the way to the back. When you rip that second board, cut it longwise for the depth of that step there, you're going to do your best, but it's never going to be exactly straight. And so there's always going to be little deviations from what's there. And so when you put this riser on, you want it to be on top of the step that's there. Okay, and then you want to have the ability, and it goes by really, really fast here, so you guys don't get to see it a lot, but you want to have the ability to actually put a tool at that top of that riser and push it down to make sure that it is a solid connection between the tread and the riser. And if you did it in the other order, that would not work, because as you can see here, we're about to put the next tread on, and that lip is actually going to go then over top and help hold that riser both in place, as well as cover any slight imperfections that might have happened when you ripped the length of that riser there as well. So that is our reasoning for starting at the bottom and going up. It is very, very intentional. And you know, a lot of installations went into place to figure that out. That being said, we're still very cognizant of the fact that you have to be very careful, and you want to try avoiding standing on the steps as much as possible. Obviously, as the installer goes, they're going to have to be putting their feet on the steps every once in a while. But again, they're very, very strategic about that. You can see him doing as much placing and setting as possible without stepping on the stairs. And then you're going to see if he does need to step on the stairs and put his weight on it, he's going to try to put his foot as close to the riser as possible. And then he's going to be very strategic about his weight and making sure that that is a straight down weight, and it's not, you know, he's not leaning forward and pushing backwards on that weight. You can see when he has those 2 feet on the steps, the top one has the full weight and it's a straight down weight. And then as always, as you go, you just want to be looking and double checking and even tapping and making sure that everything is staying in place. This is another reason why you want to have everything cut in advance. Okay. Really, really key here for this, so that you're not going up and down, you're not measuring, you're not doing all those different things, and you're just able to walk on it just as many times as you absolutely have to. We also make sure that all of our materials for the landing and for those top steps are already up top. So again, we're not going to have to be traveling over the finished stairs to be moving materials or different things like that. All right, so getting up to the top here, after this riser is in place, we're going to be switching perspectives so that we can get started on that installation on the landing. So you always want to start when you're prepping your pieces with that nosing in place, and wherever that click ends up is where your next full board is going to run. So you see here we have this really tiny little piece that needs to go over to the left hand side. This is simply going to fill in that space, and you'll see when the nosing is then put into place, it's going to line up directly so that that end click is a straight line all the way across for that next row that's going to come in as a full complete row there. So definitely lots of cutting and configuring in advance. Also, these top pieces here can be a little bit tricky because the top part of that nosing generally needs to go wider than the nose itself. So you can definitely do the jigging on that, but you also have to be thinking about how you're logistically actually going to slide that into place if you make the top part a lot wider than the rest of it. So now that that front edge is in place, this really is just a vinyl flooring installation. All of these are just flat boards. They haven't been modified in any way. And we're going to go about doing that installation. Just like when you're installing any other flooring, you want to make sure that each row you're alternating where those connections are, and you're getting fairly tight to the walls, but understanding that you are going to have that trim go in place there. The big difference, though, is that you have to be aware that you are pushing up against a nosing. So any backwards pressure towards that direction, whichever board has, is going to be possibly pushing that nosing out of place. And what you can see here is that we'd had to add that little piece over on the right-hand side. And so we are just actually putting a little bit of tape to make sure that that is fully supported while we go about doing the rest of this installation. It generally gets a little bit easier after the first row or two because that extra width is going to help support it, but always just double checking, giving it some reverse pressure on that nosing to make sure that it's staying in place, and or having somebody there to help support it is generally really, really helpful. But like I said, the rest of it is just going to be this installation just like you normally would. So you can see the rows getting put into place. If you do need to tap things into place, you always want to be using a little cutoff of vinyl so that the clicks are supported and not having pressure against them. Although this particular vinyl, we really didn't need it. It had a really beautiful locking system, and so you can see the mallet being used a little bit on those sideways connections, but otherwise it was fairly straightforward to be getting put in place. You saw him there just double checking that nosing, constantly thinking about making sure that is in place. And then when cutting these out, you can see we are using full boards for a part of this, and then we are simply alternating kind of where those connections are going to be, just like you would on a regular flooring there. So even though, you know, our specialty is doing the stairs, you do often end up doing portions of flooring on these landings, and so just making sure to peek if we weren't involved with laying the main flooring like we weren't with this one, how the installer actually went about how random those connections are or how coordinated they are, and going from there to just make sure that it's consistent. All right, so we are ready for our last board. This one was not pre-cut, and the reason being is that the amount of space that you actually have for that last board is going to be different when they are actually all clicked into place. So while we dry fit and laid all the boards out, it's going to be a little bit different once it's actually all clicked into place. So we wait until we get to that final one. We had it cut left to right, and then I just went out and stripped it, and then we get it installed in place here. And then that landing is going to be complete. Give it a little bit of a wipe down, and then we are ready to get started on the next set of stairs.
And that's it, completely installed. An absolutely beautiful finish. We love that the flooring at the top matches the flooring along all the stairs. There's no noses, there's no lips, there's no transitions, and it gets it done. We're so happy for these homeowners. They've been out of their house for a year and a half after the fire, and with these stairs done, they only have a few more days till move it.
And here we have the final product from the bottom all the way up to the top. A little bit of trim needs to be added, a paint job, touch up, but it really is beautiful, and I'm absolutely obsessed with this vinyl that they chose. Please make sure to give us a thumbs up if you like the transformation, and hit that subscribe button so you can see all the rest of our content. As I said, there's detailed videos on our channel about all the different aspects of this installation that go much slower and in much more detail. So we hope you check them out, and we hope you love this transition almost as much as we do.